What's good, everyone? OJ here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about E3 and the Nintendo Switch and the big games that I want to see. But before we get into that, please make sure you hit that like button and also subscribe if you are someone new. Now, E3 2021 is fast approaching, guys. We are less than a month away, and my coverage will continue to ramp up as we get closer to the big show. Microsoft, Nintendo, and multiple other third-party developers have already been confirmed to be at the new style of digital presentation for E3. So I will have more videos talking about different publishers and developers, but for this video, we're going to talk about my 5 most anticipated or big games that I would like to see at E3 2021 for the Nintendo Switch. Now, this doesn't mean that all of these games are going to show up, and I want to make sure that I have some caution here, guys, okay? Nintendo isn't going to show everything at E3 2021. They never have in the past, and they never will probably going forward. They're going to have their directs, they're going to have other things. So don't expect to see the whole kitchen sink there. But it would be nice if we got some updates on some of these games, because some of them are multiple years old at this point in terms of when they were first announced. So let's start off with number 5, and this is probably the oldest game on this list, and that is Shin Megami Tensei 5. Now, with Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster, which is a mouthful, just getting released, I would love to see Sega move on to the next step here, Sega and Atlus be it that, move on to the next step and get us some solid information on Shin Megami Tensei 5. This has actually been one of my most anticipated games for like the past 4 years, going on 5 years now. But here's the good news with this title. One, it looks like Nintendo's definitely involved in terms of just going to promote or market this, because they did a pretty good job with talking about Shin Megami Tensei 3 Nocturne HD Remaster, having it in its own Nintendo Direct Mini along with SMT 5. So I do think that Nintendo will talk about this game quite a bit and probably give it some nice spotlight, just like they did before, and even going as far as to say that it's a simultaneous release. And I think that Nintendo's probably helping out with that. So there is that when it comes to this game. And another thing is that update that we did get earlier, it did confirm that this game is going to once again be a larger scale game. They're setting up a grand type of adventure, a big story, and the first major Atlus game to use Unreal Engine 4, which was already confirmed when it first was shown off. So I do feel that SMT 5 is going to be a lot larger scope and bigger game than some people might expect. But you also have to think about it this way, why it's taken so long. I feel that since this is a huge jump, remember, no mainline SMT game has ever been in HD. We're not talking about the Persona series. We're talking about SMT, which SMT4 was a Nintendo 3DS game. So that is quite the jump to go from 3DS all the way to the Nintendo Switch. So I do feel that they've had some struggles here and there, but they're finally shaping things up, and they will announce that release date. So I would love to see that at E3 at Nintendo's Direct, if it's even better there, or even at a random video or whatever they decide to do with Sega and Atlus when it comes to their participation in E3 2021. Next up at number 4, Metroid Prime 4. This is a game that obviously has had a troubled development period when it comes to when it was first announced. They had a game that Bandai Namco was doing and they were putting together, and it seemingly was going well, but then everything just kind of fell apart. So development was scrapped, and now Retro Studios is at the helm, the original developers of the original Metroid Prime series. And I do think that based on all the different hires that they've been doing, based on the fact that the game has been in solid development now for a number of years, I do think that they will have something ready to show for us either at E3, which I'm hoping for that, or maybe at a Direct later in the year. But what I would like to see from this is a little bit of a revelation when it comes to the Metroid Prime series. I mean, I would not like to just see, okay, this is just Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3, and they just make the graphics better, and yeah, there you go. Because I feel that that would be a disservice in terms of modernizing the franchise. I would like to see what made Metroid Prime great, but then also add in some new wrinkles and kind of bring a different flair that you don't normally see in a lot of Nintendo games, especially because this is a major Western developed game for Nintendo, which there aren't a lot of those. So I would like to see them kind of try some new things, do things a bit differently, and put together a very solid experience for fans, because it's been so long since the last real mainline Metroid Prime game. 2007 was the last time that we got one, and it was on the Wii before there was even an HD system for Nintendo. So I do think that this one needs to impress quite a bit, and hopefully we see it at E3 2021. Coming in at number 3, this is not confirmed, but the new Donkey Kong game. Now, let me give you guys a little bit of a history lesson when it comes to myself and Donkey Kong. Back in the day, Donkey Kong was one of my favorite Nintendo franchises, if not my favorite. It was right up there with Mario. It was right up there with Pokemon. It was right up there with some of the best. The Super Nintendo trilogy was amazing. Donkey Kong Country Returns was phenomenal on the Wii, and Tropical Freeze was great. But it's been some time, and I do think that if this rumored game, because this game is not confirmed yet, but if this rumored game is actually done by the Odyssey team, like the rumors say here, and they're looking to reinvent the Donkey Kong franchise with this team at the helm, I think that it can create something very special. I feel that Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze was pretty much 2D platforming perfected. I don't really see many things wrong with that game. So I feel that it was necessary in order to kind of bring Donkey Kong to a new light and get it to the point to where it can get some new fans. I feel that a change in developer was definitely needed. And on top of that, I think that Retro Studios probably has their hands full with Metroid Prime 4. So if the Mario Odyssey team can take the Donkey Kong formula, whether it's going to be 3D, 2.5D, 2D, whatever they decide to do, all I want to see is new ideas and great usage of the environments, of the powers, of whatever they want to put into the Donkey Kong universe. So I just want to see a phenomenal Donkey Kong game, because like I stated, I'm a huge fan of the old school games in addition to Returns and Tropical Freeze. So I'm really hoping they have a really dope reveal trailer, and this is true. So this would be number 3 on my most anticipated, and once again, it's tentative because we don't have a confirmation that this is even a thing, but I'm guessing based on all the different rumors that have been out there and some information that I've uncovered myself, that there is a new Donkey Kong game being developed by the Mario Odyssey team, Nintendo internally, and we could see it first at E3 2021. Number 2, this is a game that I've been talking about for quite some time, and some people think that it's vaporware, but it's not, and that is Bayonetta 3 on the Nintendo Switch. Now, and I recently did a huge Bayonetta 3 video. Make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already done so. It's on the channel, and I appreciate everybody who's watched that so far. And I've talked about various different things, but there seems to be quite a bit of confusion when it comes to Bayonetta 3. So let's go ahead and get everything in order right here, right now at this point. Number 1, Platinum Games is not the publisher, nor are they the owner of Bayonetta 3 or the Bayonetta franchise or the license or anything like that. They are the developers of Bayonetta 3. Number 2, Sega is the original IP owners for Bayonetta. They own the IP. That's the number 2 thing. And number 3, Nintendo purchased the license for Bayonetta 2 and also for Bayonetta 3. And they pretty much own those games, Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3. They are the publisher, they are completely funding it and have a license for it. It is essentially a first-party release individually with those games for Nintendo. Not the original Bayonetta, but Bayonetta 2 and Bayonetta 3. Now that we got all of that out of the way, I do think that Bayonetta 3 has a shot at getting a first gameplay look at E3 2021. And the reason why I say this is because if you go back into the history of Platinum Games and Nintendo and Platinum, especially with Bayonetta titles, always like to reveal them at E3s. E3s or big presentations or Nintendo Directs. They very seldomly do it at some type of random thing or anything like that, and usually Nintendo is the one to initiate it. Whether it's a Bayonetta Nintendo Direct or whether it's an E3 presentation, Nintendo always wants to put Bayonetta up front and ready for all of the core gamers to see in order to build the franchise. So the person who decides, or the company who decides when Bayonetta is shown off, is Nintendo. Not Hideki Kamiya, not Platinum Games, not a developer on there, but it's actually Nintendo, since they are the publisher and are funding the game. So I do feel that maybe, just maybe, there is a chance that we get a Bayonetta 3 reveal at E3, because honestly, it's been a long time. We first heard about this game in 2017 at the Game Awards, which they wanted to get that game in front of a lot of core gamers. And 3 years later now, I think it's time for Nintendo to show us it, but we're gonna have to wait and see. I do feel that they're going to do a blitz marketing with this to where it's shown off and then it's released shortly after we first see it, just like Astral Chain was on the Nintendo Switch. So hopefully Nintendo and Platinum Games can come through when it comes to Bayonetta 3 at E3 2021. And coming in at number 1, to nobody's surprise, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. I am insanely hyped to see more of this game, and rumor has it that there's going to be plenty to show at E3. Now, we do have the Zelda 35th anniversary, and of course I'm excited for a potential Ocarina of Time or Wind Waker or Twilight Princess and some of the older games coming back to Switch. That's great and all, but I've played those before. I'm a little bit more excited for Skyward Sword than maybe some of the other games that have been rumored outside of that. We know Skyward Sword is coming, so I'm excited for that. But to me, I think the most exciting thing for E3 and the Zelda 35th anniversary is just to get more information on the scope and scale of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2. Now, based off of the reveal trailer, it does seem like story is going to play a lot bigger role, and it does seem like the huge world of Hyrule and the open-endedness is going to come back, but there are also going to be some other little nooks and crannies to explore. So I'm expecting Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 not just to be a cut and paste sequel to the original game, but for them to actually take a lot of risks and do a lot of new things that you wouldn't even expect within the same structure of the game. Almost like Ocarina of Time and also Majora's Mask. Still the same structure in terms of what you would expect, engine and all of that, but completely different when it comes to multiple different aspects of the game. So maybe it won't be as drastic as that, but I do expect there to be quite a number of new mechanics and new ways to play that we didn't get before, while retaining the feel of the original Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and improving from a technical aspect as well. So this is my most anticipated game for E3 by a long shot. So what are your thoughts when it comes to E3, and what are you expecting the most from the Nintendo Switch there? What games are you looking forward to the most? Let me know in the comment section below. Alright guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter. Go and give us a follow on there. Stay up to date on our latest gaming news and information. Also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video if you can. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.